My life be like, yeah. My life be like, yeah.
Good morning, Pops the Paladin here. Let's talk about Heroic Desolate Host in the Tomb of Sargeras. Now, this is a 2-realm fight and a 2-stage fight. One is in the corporal realm or the normal realm. That's the one that should be tanked on the right side of the boss as you enter the room, or on the red marker that you see on my screen. The spirit realm is the downstairs realm, and or the one tanked on the blue marker or the left side of the room as you enter into the fight. Let's actually talk about the damage that happens in each realm. In the corporal realm, it's mostly all physical, so if you have a tank that's good at mitigating physical damage, they should stay up in the corporal or normal realm. And the bottom realm is all magic based damage, so if you have a tank that's good at mitigating magic, they should be in the spirit realm, i.e. paladins and death knights. However, if you are a paladin death knight combo, your death knight should be in the spirit realm and you should be in the corporal realm, and I'll talk about a mechanic that occurs up there. In the spirit realm, since this is where the majority of you will be in your entire tanking career, doing this fight, you will be dealing with a few different abilities. One, Crush Mind. Now, Crush Mind is a stacking debuff that increases all shadow-based damage that occurs to you, and apparently it is interruptible, question mark, still, because I attempted to interrupt it and I noticed that I didn't get a stack, but another time I interrupted it, I did get a stack. So I cannot confirm this one yet. Here's something I can confirm. I was able to stay in the spirit realm the entire time on heroic. Now this might change on mythic level difficulty, but it is very easy for you to stay down in the spirit realm and not swap, as some mechanics might state. If your Crush Mind stacked it too high, swap during Wailing Souls. Speaking of Wailing Souls, during Wailing Souls, your entire DPS range group and melee group should get out of the spirit realm, and you should only be left with 2 healers and a tank, or 1 healer and a tank if your healer is really good at spot healing. And the reason why I say spot healing is because people in the corporal realm will be sent to the spirit realm and will need to be healed up very quickly, so that way they can jump back into the corporal realm, because they have a debuff that prevents them from moving to the next realm. And that usually happens during Wailing Souls, and therefore that's why we keep 2 healers down there. Now, during Wailing Souls, a tank needs to stay down there, because if they don't, something called Quietus is cast by the priestess down there, and that increases damage taken by the raid and deals damage to the raid, and that is stacking. So you need to have at least a tank and a healer down there. Now, my healer stated that they didn't have to heal me at all during Wailing Souls, and that's a good thing, because they need to be healing other people. You should also be using Blessing of the Spell Warding on a healer, because that prevents all damage from Wailing Souls from happening for 10 seconds. So use that freely as you can during Wailing Souls. Downstairs, you're going to notice a couple different ads that appear, and they are going to cast something called Shattering Scream. Shattering Scream needs to stay on the player that it's targeted so that they can break bone armor. Now, here's where the min-maxing portion of this gets a little sketchy, because as a tank, you want to be using Cephus on this fight because you can interrupt and proc it very, very consistently. It will also piss off your raid group because you're interrupting a cast that is needed to break the armor of an ad in the other world. So that kind of sucks. In the other world, the only ability that you have to deal with is something called Bone Shards, which is advisable to use an active mitigation against it because it does 100% physical damage. Other than that, this fight, nothing else changes. So in Phase 3, as you see that just occurred here, the Engine of Souls is going to appear. This is your lust phase. You lust when this occurs. Your 2 ads that you have been tanking prior to this, they'll get down to 30%, and this phase will begin. Now what you're going to be doing is you're going to be doing this ping pong method, and that's the most advisable method, since you still can't move this caster ad until obviously she's dead, and then you are going to be moving to and from the Engine of Soul. Now when it comes to when you have to stack and when you have to spread on this one, Doomed Sundering is when the bottom group has to stack. Sundering Doom is when the upper group has to stack, and then the other group, vice versa, has to get out of the way. It's kind of a stupid play on words, but that's the way that this fight actually goes. So Sundering Doom, bottom runs away. Doomed Sundering is when the top, or when the bottom group groups together. So in regards to the only other mechanic that you will never have to deal with, but your group might have to deal with, is something called, or not called, the spears that get cast on your players. They should all meet at a designated area. You see on our screen we have a yellow world marker down there, and that is to make sure that our group actually goes there to soak the spears, and or if they get soul bind where they have to connect to a raid member, they also go to there as well to break that soul bind. In Mythic, don't be surprised if you need 4 people to soak these abilities. It's just, you know, in Mythic level difficulty they increase everything that comes out of here. This fight is honestly, I think it's very fun for the sheer fact that I wonder how much DPS I can actually get when my group allows me to start interrupting as much as possible. But it is a very boring fight since you really don't do anything. I bet you on Mythic it'll get a little bit more involved. It'll be more exciting, but for now it's a super boring fight. Very easy. All you get to do is stand there and tank, so I would call it a tank and spank fight with some interrupts for Sephu's proc. Hopefully this guide gave you a little bit of insight as to what to expect in the Desolate host. People say it's complicated, but in all reality, it's just a lot of good communication that's needed in order to get this completed. And the only raid leading that I do on this specific fight is just calling when to stack, when to not stack, when to get in and out of the spirit realms. I rely on somebody in the normal realm to call out when they need bone armor interrupted, and that's really the only raid leading that goes on in this one, so it's pretty simple. Hopefully you get a nice tier piece off of this one. The cloak is very juicy for us in terms of tanks. Or if you get the Reliquary of the Damned, which as you saw I bonus rolled it, it's a fantastic trinket to have for Kill Jaden, because apparently we need to stack stamina for Kill Jaden because Blizzard didn't realize that they absolutely screwed paladins in terms of having like no health at all to survive those fell claws. But I do wish you all the best. Stay tuned for my next videos, and good luck on your loot. See you later.